good to be with you once again. Unfortunately, we can't be together for a club meeting in person. Wish we could. We'd have a great time together, but this is the best we can do for now, so we'll do the best we can to share some football thoughts with you today and in ensuing episodes here. So let's begin by talking about high school football because this is state championship weekend for the Skeeza schools, and there are teams from the Sumter area, of course, who'll be playing for state championships. Lawrence Manning Academy, Carolina Academy, Lee Academy. Certainly, congratulations to those three for making it this far. So Friday night, 7:30 at Charleston Southern, Lawrence Manning against Hammond. It's a rematch from last year. Of course, you know Hammond is, well, they're just good. Hammond, of course, has a number of Division I prospects, including another of Will Muschamp's son, who's now the quarterback for Hammond. He's a young guy, but he has a lot of promise. You know, his brother is a walk-on quarterback at Georgia, and this younger Muschamp is got a lot of potential as well. So you start with him. Then they have a running back who is a major college talent who already has some big-time offers. He's in the 2022 class, a very good prospect. You know, Hammond is just always deep with talent, always well coached by Eric Kimry. But, you know, Lawrence Manning's had a great year. Congratulations to them for making it back to the championship game. The funny thing that happened because of COVID, of course, was First Baptist, a team that beat Hammond in the regular season. Well, they had a COVID issue that knocked them out of the playoffs altogether. And perhaps it could have been Lawrence Manning and First Baptist or First Baptist and Hammond, whatever the case might have been. But unfortunately, COVID got the better of the First Baptist team, and they had to drop out before the playoffs even began. So we'll see if Lawrence Manning can hang in there with Hammond. It's going to be tough because Hammond is awfully, awfully good. Then noon on Saturday at Charleston Southern, Carolina Academy against Hilton Head Christian Academy. This will be the final game for Coach T.J. Joy. Congratulations to him for winning his election to be the new sheriff in Florence County. And now if he can just come up with some magic on Saturday afternoon to help his team win a state championship, heck of a way to ride off into the sunset there. So Carolina Academy, Hilton Head Christian Academy, noon on Saturday at Charleston Southern. And then on Saturday afternoon at 5:30 at Charleston Southern, Lee Academy against Thomas Hayward. Lee Academy beat St. John's Christian Academy last week to advance. Coach David Rankin is the coach there, and he is and his team there are 9-3 on the season. Thomas Hayward, very, very good team. They've been a Skeeza power for a lot of years, going back to the early years of Skeeza. I remember they were winning a lot of championships. Now they have come back here recently and won championships. Be a very tough game for Lee Academy and for Thomas Hayward, for that matter. So it should be a good one, Lee Academy against Thomas Hayward Academy. Then as far as the high school league teams are concerned, we go into the second round of the shortened playoffs for the high school league teams on Friday. And, of course, Sumter High having a great year, got a great chance to continue and get to the next round. And the 5A playoffs really starting to shape up to be very exciting with the teams that are left, like Sumter High and Gaffney, Dorman. Surprising that Fort Dorchester got knocked out last week in a big upset, but still some really good teams are left in the 5A playoffs. Good luck to the Gamecocks tonight as they look to take that next step or on Friday night. So the high school season rolling along, coming to a close in Skeeza, and just a few weeks away for the high school league. They'll be playing their state championship games December 4th and 5th, splitting up the games at Benedict College and as well at Spring Valley High School. So now to the college situation. As you can imagine, it's been a crazy week dealing with the South Carolina situation, the firing of Will Muschamp, the naming of Mike Bobo as the interim coach, the beginning of a search for a new coach, all this going on for a team that is reeling, both in terms of the losses in games, dealing with injuries, COVID issues to some degree, opt-out issues. So it's been a tough week for Gamecock football. You got to hit rock bottom sometimes to bounce back and start climbing towards the top. And if you're a South Carolina fan, that's all you can hope for. You can hope that you've hit rock bottom. And this weekend against Missouri, maybe that's the time you start climbing back up. I don't know. Missouri is also dealing with a lot of COVID issues. They're down to like 55 players. You have to have 53 players available by SEC rules to play a game. South Carolina is also down on numbers. They've lost between injuries and COVID and opt outs. They've lost 5 defensive starters in the last couple of weeks. So a defense that has given up 159 points in its last 3 games is reeling, and you really can't expect them to wave a magic wand and be that much improved. Missouri has a very good offense. Coach Drinkwitz, he came there with a really good offensive mind. He's got a freshman quarterback who's a big, tall guy, stands in the pocket, throws it all over the place. That'll be a tough out for a Gamecock secondary that will be out both starting corners because Mukwamu and Horn opted out, and a starting safety as Roderick has opted out. The backups have not been all that good. So Missouri could have a field day throwing the ball against South Carolina. The Gamecocks will obviously try and run the ball with Kevin Harris, who's a quality running back, and see if they can control clock and control the football that way. But things are just not going well for South Carolina, obviously, or they wouldn't be looking for a new coach. The search is continuing, and I think that Ray Tanner is looking at about December 10th or so for naming his new coach. Would like to find him about a week before the signing period if he can make it happen. I would say that, in my opinion, I think Shane Beamer, the assistant head coach at Oklahoma, Billy Napier, the head coach at Louisiana, would be definitely 2 guys that you pin at the top of the board and you leave them there. I think they've got sticking power until they say they're not interested, which they're not going to say. I think Steve Sarkisian, offensive coordinator at Alabama, former head coach at Southern Cal and at Washington, I believe. I think he's also in the mix quite a bit. There are other names that they are looking over and vetting. I know early on there was a great deal of national interest for Hugh Freeze at Liberty, who's done a great job there. But my information is that he is not going to be a factor in this search at all. Had a lot of baggage coming out of his time as the head coach at Ole Miss, and I don't think South Carolina wants to begin with a new coaching regime having to deal with questions about how can you hire a guy that did this, did that, did this. I just don't think they want to do that. So search continues, and it's always interesting to follow a coaching search. It's very time consuming to say the least, but fun to follow. And so we'll see what happens as that continues. Meantime, at Clemson, Tigers have had 2 weeks to think about that double overtime loss to Notre Dame, why that happened, why they didn't make the big plays, why their defense let Notre Dame go down the field after the offense gave them the lead. A lot of things the Tigers can clean up. They are by no means a perfect product, and especially on the defensive side, tackling's been a little poor, filling gaps has been poor, giving up big plays, something you don't usually see against Clemson, both through the air and on the ground. So those are some things they have to clean up. And they've been hurting with the injury bug, too. Their secondary was hard hit. They're still without Jamie Skowski. They're going to miss him. Who knows how much longer he'll be out. Frank Ladson is out. They've been dealing with some injuries among their receivers. So the week off was really good for Clemson from the standpoint that they could self-scout, self-evaluate, and clean up some things and get people healthy. And you're going to say, well, hey, Trevor Lawrence is back and everything is going to be fine. Well, look, DJ Uiagalelei, he passed for 435 yards, I think it was. I'm not sure Lawrence could have done any better through the air than what Clemson did with Uiagalelei. Now, Lawrence gives them a better running threat than Uiagalelei, who's been dealing with a sore shoulder. So you get that aspect of the offense back. Got to get ETN going again. Got to get that offensive line pumping out some yardage in the running game. And the perfect place to do that is Tallahassee, because Florida State is really bad. Clemson's favored by 34.5. It's not going to be that close, I wouldn't think, because I think Clemson nationally has to go out and show that they are back and post a big number. And that's what I would expect to happen there. Tell you the game I'd love to see, though, is that Appalachian State at Coastal Carolina game at noon on Saturday at Coastal. This is a big game in the Sun Belt. Two teams battling for division prominence and a spot in the championship game in the Sun Belt, probably against Billy Napier's Louisiana team. In fact, I think they've already clinched their division, and Coastal's already beaten Louisiana once. So Jamie Chadwell, whose name has been mentioned with the South Carolina job, but at this point, I don't think Jamie is a strong contender. Not that he shouldn't be. I just don't think that he is, not compared to the others. But they're having a fabulous year, up to 15th in the country, undefeated with a great offense. They lead the Sun Belt in practically every statistical category on offense and defense, just having one of those years. But Appalachian State, they're tough. Coastal has never beaten Appalachian State, so they've got to kind of get over that mindset of dealing with the bully on the block here with Appalachian. And Appalachian is very good once again, too. They always have an explosive offense, and they will bring that to Coastal. So that will be a great game to watch at noon. So you'll have Clemson on at noon on Saturday, and you'll have Coastal Carolina on at noon. Then you can take a break, have some dinner, and watch South Carolina at 7:30 against Missouri. So that's what we've got looking ahead this weekend in football. Good luck to the high school teams. We'll see how the college teams will do. You know what next week would have been? Next week would have been our annual meeting before the Clemson and South Carolina game. Well, when we get together next time here virtually, we'll talk about what would have been, what could have been, and what my prediction would have been for the Clemson-South Carolina game this year. Shame on the SEC for not allowing that to happen. I know some people are going to say the ACC is a culprit as well, but I pin this on the SEC by virtue of the fact that they only allow their teams to play 10 league games only and would not make room for non-conference rival games. And that's hurting. Really, that hurts a lot of places. Even though the fans couldn't be there, you know as well as I do, we want to see South Carolina and Clemson play. Well, maybe the Gamecock fans don't want to see it this year because it would probably be a bloodbath, to be quite honest with you. But I'll save that for next time. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. Sorry we can't be together in person, and we'll do this again soon. So be sure to check back and have a great weekend. Appreciate you being here.